Hey, 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 it's your girl, Leilani Ray, and I'm back with another episode of your favorite Mom Friends podcast. Today, you guys, it's a special treat. I have my sister on the podcast. She is a mom of two, and she is full-time nurse. And anybody who knows a nurse knows that they work hard. It doesn't matter where they're working, they work really hard. So, without further ado, welcome Carla Curry, my sister, to the show. Hey Carla, how are you?
Hey hon, how are you?
Oh my gosh, it's been one of those days, okay? Like
Yes.
we all have them as moms, and you know that. We talk about it all the time.
Yes.
And I actually didn't even mention in my opening that we're actually getting ready to talk about motherhood and mental health, It couldn't be more spot on today. Like, at least for me, it's just been a really busy, hectic day, And I know you have them, and it's just like you're the perfect person to talk to this about. And so many moms go through this.
Yes.
So, yeah. How was your day today?
It was a crazy day, literally down to the wire. Getting ready to talk to you.
Yeah.
As I am rushing just to put on a little bit of something. My oldest, who I just put to bed, came in and was like, "Mommy, I need this, I need that," and I'm just like,
"Oh my God!"
That was the day.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Oh my gosh.
But I achieved a goal, and which is important, and then I was able to complete 2 additional goals. So it was a win.
Yeah, it's always a win. It's always a win. We can complete a goal. Oh my gosh, with the kids around, like it's not easy.
Yes.
All right. Before we get into motherhood and mental health, we are gonna get into some fun questions to kind of lighten it a little bit because we all know that the conversation of mental health and motherhood can just be heavy, and it's just it can be heavy. I'll leave it there. So let's just dive into some fun questions and see what I can dig up on you. all right, let's see what we can do. Okay, name 3 movies that you just can't live without.
That would be Dirty Dancing, Pretty Woman. Yes, girl, you know it. See, Dirty Dancing, Pretty Woman. And now this will, because it's pretty much the entirety of the Marvel universe, because I am a huge geek at heart. Like, I collected comic books when I was younger and all that good stuff. So I can't pin down the third one. I'm just going to call it the Marvel universe, and we're going to leave it at that.
I'm in complete agreement. I love a good Marvel movie.
Yes.
Who doesn't, right? Maybe some people don't like it's not their thing, but I love it. Have you seen Black Panther? Well, I'm asking a mom of 2 with a full-time job, but have you seen
Wakanda Forever?
Yeah.
Yes, I have, but the new one that just came out today or yesterday or whenever it just, ma'am, when would I have gone?
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. For me, I'm like, okay, maybe no, but then like at night, my daughter is down, so it's just like, when do you do this? Like, when do you find time?
We'll probably end up doing it maybe around my birthday.
Yeah.
I put in PTO with my in-laws. That's what I call it, PTO.
Right? Schedule that time. Okay.
I gotta schedule the time. So I scheduled my PTO. It was approved. So
yes.
Maybe for my birthday weekend, maybe we'll just do that. Keep it super chill, because normally we, I like to go out for a nice dinner or something. But I just kind of just want to relax this year, and maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm hearing so far, I'm trying to avoid the reviews because people are just like, they don't care. They're like saying what they have to say. And I'm just like, listen, man, like, I want to see this movie, like, Wakanda forever, okay? Like,
just the Rihanna song already has me bawling, so I can't.
I didn't even wait. Okay, so Rihanna dropped a song, but I actually haven't heard it. But I heard it's like a ballad or something like that.
Ma'am, it sounds like Amazing Grace. It is. She is singing like almost a cappella.
Oh my goodness!
Full blown. I'm getting chills just thinking about it, and it's just, it is everything. Like, just listen to it. A lot of people were expecting her to come out with something, that was a little bit more
Upbeat.
mainstream and
Yeah.
upbeat. But this was a tribute to Chadwick. So she kind of, I think it just
Wow.
beautifully done, just amazing. Like after all of this, I highly
Mm-hmm.
recommend you go and YouTube and watch the video. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh
Hmm.
man. And I'm an emotional person, so I might need some tissues to
You can yell at me after. Why?
yeah, like like I get in there. I get in there a little bit too much. Today
Hmm.
I watched Encanto. I don't know if you've seen Encanto with the girls, but
85 times.
oh my gosh, like I can't get Milan to stop watching Encanto. Like she can't get enough of it. So yeah, we watched it twice today. And I cried the first time, held it back the second
Like, I
time.
know you've seen it more than once.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. That's the funny part about it. And so like I texted my husband, I was like, yeah, so yeah, I cried again, watching Encanto. Listen, it's the abuela. Okay, now I'm getting off track. But it's the abuela. Look, is she the way she just walks around and she's been through so much pain and all
And
that. It's
just the
like,
poise and the poise. And look,
yeah,
Encanto does kind of lead into what we're going to talk today because,
yes.
you kind of model your life as a mom
Mm-hmm.
from how you were brought up with all your loved
Mm-hmm.
ones and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you try to take most of the good from what you see from your family and friends that are
Yeah.
moms and
Yeah.
when you get a child. So
Mm-hmm.
Encanto it's good.
Yes, it hits a
It's
little
good.
bit. It hits
It does.
different,
It does.
especially for us, being from the islands, you being from
Yeah.
Grenada, and my background's Jamaican. It's just like,
Yeah.
they have that immigrant story. Well, they didn't go anywhere, but it's
No,
just
I see
something
what you
to,
have. Yeah.
yeah, or they tried to, but anyway. So, okay. If life had a rewind button, where would you rewind it to and why?
Okay. So if I had a rewind button,
Mm-hmm.
um, man. So there's two.
Mm-hmm.
There's two. Um, would definitely have gone to my number one college.
Oh.
Um, or the second one, and my husband's gonna hate this answer, but he knows. Um, I would have gone to nursing school probably in New York, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
where I would have been. Yeah, right before I
Wow.
want to say I met him when I was in nursing school.
Wow. So you
So
really miss New York.
yes, yes,
Wow.
because the thing is
It's a
that
different
a,
life.
yeah, a different life. And I have my mom and my dad here, but
Mm-hmm.
the majority of my parents' siblings, so
Mm-hmm.
all of my aunts and uncles on both sides, and I'm not talking second and third aunt and uncle, because we know all of them
Mm-hmm.
coming from the island. Literally, Encanto is appropriate.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
um,
funny.
I am talking like everybody is up there, and we are
Mm-hmm.
in this huge family group chat. And they
Mm-hmm.
posted last weekend was one of the cousins' birthday, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
Carla stole our only two girls and brought them to Florida. So
Oh, so they're like, they really, yeah, that's tugging at
yeah,
you a little bit.
yeah, it
Wow.
tugs at me, but he gets
Yeah.
it. So we go up there frequently enough for him to experience the dysfunctionality of my family, if that's even a word.
Keeping it
But
real.
yes,
I love it. That is so funny.
yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
He loves it. He loves it. He loves
Yeah.
every minute of it because it's just different.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. New Yorkers roll
you
at a different
at a
tempo.
different level, and then
Okay.
they're New Yorker West Indian girl.
Oh yeah. So like there is no filter.
None,
Yeah,
none.
it's brash, it's harsh, and yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. Um, if you had to take off for a month, right now to refresh and renew without repercussions, where would you
Several places because I got a month, I
go?
got 30 days. Um,
Yes.
So first and foremost, we'll probably take a pit stop in Jamaica and Grenada, visit, see the
Love
family.
it.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
Then of course, I'm bringing him. The kids are staying with the grandparents.
Right.
Then we are going to Tokyo because him and I are huge anime fans.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
we had wanted to do it for our honeymoon, but at the time that we got married, we were
Hmm.
two poor people.
Yeah.
We
Well,
weren't
that's the story, you
established.
know?
Yes,
Yeah.
we weren't established in our careers yet. So like
Yeah.
to do a trip to Tokyo would have been ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then kind of end it either in like the Greek Isles or, the Philippine area.
Sis,
Like
it
that's
sounds like
where,
you've thought of this before.
yes, there
Like
is a
it's a
bucket list. One, two,
like
three,
it's
four, five.
I promise you guys, these questions are not given out. Like these fun questions are not given out
No,
in
no, no, no.
advance. But
Those
just
are the bucket list
knows.
items for us to travel.
Wow. Oh, that's so fun. Okay. Favorite binge reality show and why?
So the Real Housewives series, and you have to understand it's an addiction.
I'm with it. Okay. I
Okay,
could do a whole
so
podcast on the Real Housewives.
just on the Real Housewives,
Just on
because
them.
come on now, the tomfoolery
Yes.
that happens in
Yes.
tomfoolery.
Uh,
Lilani, come on now.
have you
I think
seen
that if
the latest
Potomac,
episode? Ah,
come on, I know.
I
So,
didn't even have to, guys. I didn't even
no,
have to say which
because she
section.
knows I know.
Yes.
No, I have not, because I actually just caught the Lindsay Lohan movie
Oh, I didn't get to
on
watch that
Netflix that had,
yet.
yeah, that just came out, and
Yeah.
to me it's like a tribute to the Goldie Hawn movie she did way back in the 80s. Oh my God, I'm aging
Oh
myself.
my gosh. Yeah, I have
It's
not seen
called
that.
Overboard. So that's kind of the premise of the whole story. The rich girl
Oh.
loses her memory type thing. It was so cute and I loved it, but it was like a Christmas story. So after this, I have to catch up on my Potomac, and then Family
Yes.
Karma just started. So I got it because
What is it called? Family Karma?
Family Karma. Oh my God, it's
Is this
fabulous.
a Bravo? Is this a Bravo one?
It's a Bravo one. So it's
Wow.
about it's like it's similar to like you and I,
Hmm.
well, my children are first generation like I guess what do
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so it's first generation Indians, like the children of
Oh,
immigrant Indian parents, and
yeah.
it follows their life, and it is just as addictive as the Real Housewives, and I love it.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
And you said this is not a Bravo?
It
This
is
is
a Bravo.
it is
It's a
Bravo.
Bravo. Yes,
Okay, so I
yes,
gotta
yes,
check
yes.
into that. Like,
Yes.
I'm so
Because it
for
has
it.
and it follows them here in Miami, so you get a little bit of
Oh
taste of
wow.
home.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes. So all the
Yes.
food places you'll see, and
Oh
you'll be like, yes,
yes.
I gotta try that when I come
Yes.
back.
Oh man. Oh, yeah. So definitely, yeah, I'm such a Real Housewives fan.
Love it. Can't
Can't
live
get
without
enough
it.
of, yeah, yeah.
Nope.
That's definitely one of those shows. Yeah. Wow. Well, there's no good way to move into
No.
this mental health segment. It's a heavy topic, and I thank you so much for being here. I know I'm being a little bit formal, but it is an important topic to talk about, to discuss, because again, many moms, we all go through it. We kind of bottle it up, and that is something that, I mean, some people just, there's a right time, right place, and then they're not in a space to discuss what's going on in their lives because it hurts too much publicly on a platform like this.
Yeah.
But it is an important topic to talk about. So thank you, Sissy, for being here.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. I
Oh
have no
man.
issues talking about it because it's something, as a nurse, you discuss
Mhm.
day to day outside of being a mom, just
Yeah.
day to day with families who are now the caretaker of their parents and things like
Mhm.
that. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's an important topic, and by no means
Mhm.
I'm not the expert on the topic. This is
Oh,
just
and if you're not the expert, I'm certainly not the expert. So before we even ask the first question, everybody got to know I am not a licensed professional therapist, psychologist, none of that stuff.
And neither
This
am
is,
I.
yeah. Carla will be a little bit closer to it than I am, but I'm not at all. So this is literally just a discussion between, you know, two young moms just trying to like hash out whatever mental health is with mom as being a mom. So Carla, if you're ready, let's see if
I'm
we can
ready.
dive into this thing, right? Okay, so you have two kids under the age of 6, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I know that I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I have one child, so I don't know exactly what that's like, but I can only imagine and empathize that it's double the trouble. And so, you know, I'm not trying to like it's a lot of work.
No,
Because I
don't
know
sugarcoat it. It is.
it's a lot of work, yeah. So would you say that anxiety plays a part in your kind of like daily, you know, like activities, what you do every single day, like in raising your kids? Do you feel that anxiety, those emotions come on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot easier before Talia started school.
Mm-hmm.
So, when she started school, the schedule of the day got a lot more regimen because you're waking
Mm-hmm.
up early in the morning, you're getting them ready, drop
Mm-hmm.
her off, come back home. And before I switched away from the bedside and went more into an administrative role in nursing.
Right.
I work still 12 hours, but it's like 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, getting her ready in the mornings to get to work by 7 a.m., that
Mm.
was a whole drama. Then you have to find to make sure there's somebody to pick them up in the afternoon. Thankfully, I'm
Mm-hmm.
blessed with amazing in-laws. They're absolutely
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even now, like, so you get up on my days off, get
Mm-hmm.
dressed, come back home, feed Madison, and before I turn around,
Mm.
it's time to go to the pickup line. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, well, I did one load, have a snack, do some homework,
Mm-hmm.
start dinner. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
dinner's over. Oh my goodness, it's bedtime. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
where did the day go?
Yeah.
So it's it's an anxiety about time, like
Mm-hmm.
having enough time in the day to accomplish all that you need to do as a mom, because
Yeah.
it's very difficult. And in all of that time, I have to find me time. So it becomes one of those situations where you just need to set goals. And like I said, my main goal today was to wash my hair for this interview. Does it
Yeah,
look great?
you know,
It looks
it
good, right?
does. And sometimes it's just the small goals
Yes.
that make you feel
So
so good.
on, and then so on top of that, though, I was like, well, I'm gonna give myself a pedicure. And before I did
Yes.
any of that, I walked on a treadmill for 20 minutes. So I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
3 goals in one day. I'm working
Wow.
it. Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but in doing so, I had to forego or give up something. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to be okay with giving up something in
Mm-hmm.
order to do that, because there's just not enough hours in the day.
No,
There really isn't.
it never is.
So I decided I just wasn't going to mop the floor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
that's
I'm half,
okay.
and that is okay because I needed the me time, the
Yeah.
Carla, do your toes, your
Yeah.
hair, and
Yeah.
walk on the treadmill and feel good. Get some
Yeah.
endorphins going.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes you just have to sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt.
no, 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 no. Absolutely. Sometimes you just gotta say, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
me today. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to. There's one thing I've learned, and I learned this from my grandmother. She's like, if there's anybody that knows what it's like to go through the struggles of motherhood, is her.
Mhm,
And one of the things she told me, she was just like, there's always going to be work. There's
mhm,
never, you are never going to wake up and everything is perfect. Unless, of course, you killed yourself. I shouldn't say that. You like worked really, really hard the day before, right? That's what I
mhm.
mean. I don't mean to like, but you overexerted, right? Is that right word there? But
Yes,
like you
but
kind of,
and then and then you kill yourself though, and then you wake up and
Yeah,
you're still tired from overexerting yourself the day before. So then
exactly.
what have you accomplished? Then you still don't
You're
want to
gonna fall
really do anything.
behind. Yeah,
Exactly. Then you
yeah.
still don't want to really do anything with the
Mm,
kids because you're just
mm-hmm.
like, all right, so I'm tired today. I'm gonna rest. And
Exactly.
with a 6 and 4 year old,
Mm,
there there's no rest. And I know you
there's
know, because my little niece is a bundle of fireball of just
energy.
fun.
One of her favorite like hip hop songs is Beyonce's song Energy. She will request for us, and it's not. I think I played it like when Beyonce's album dropped. She might have, because I don't usually play that kind of music. I usually play like, her kitty Coco Melon type stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But she heard the song somehow, and it if I play anything outside of children's music, she's like,
Mhm.
energy. It's like that is what she goes by. And the song literally the whole time,
Oh,
energy. Like that's it. I don't know what half the words are, but like that is like her song. So just imagine, like these kids, they don't stop. Um,
no.
but yeah,
Madison
so
is singing, what's that one by Sia? That am I saying her name right? Sia.
yeah.
Um, what is it? Unstoppable.
I
That's the
don't know.
song.
I'm so bad with like maybe Beyonce is
Listen.
the only title songs that I know because I'm
No,
really bad with titles.
she just walks around and just randomly starts bursting out in song. So then
Yeah,
she gives me a look and I'm like, okay, I'm putting it on now. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's my
yeah.
life.
I'm telling you.
These
So we
kids,
talked a
that's
little
all
bit
you say, these kids.
these kids. That's it. So we talked a little bit about anxiety and what that feels like, and you trying to cope with it, and essentially, squeeze in that quality time, which I'll definitely get back to in a little bit because that is a whole topic in and of itself.
Mhm,
But fear is something completely separate because anxiety, you're anxious and you're kind of uneasy, right? But
mhm,
fear, I think, is like a mental block to. It's like you literally feel like something is inhibiting your actions in what you want to do. Like you feel like it creeps in, and this could be kind of like a result of early childhood traumas, and just various life experiences. You don't know where that fear comes from when
mhm.
it comes to like being a mom and mothering your kids. So, do you believe that you ever experienced that fear coming in? Do you think it has anything to do with various life experiences, childhood trauma potentially? And if you do feel like fear comes in outside of anxiety, which I'm going to be honest, for me, fear comes in all the time. But how do you cope with that fear? So just, I know that's a loaded question, but like yeah, if we can
Mm,
unpack it.
yeah,
Um,
so I think the biggest fear for Carlton and I
yeah.
is more so the world. The world has gotten very small
Mm,
with the advent of the internet and social media.
mm,
So, I mean, you follow me on my page,
mm-hmm.
and there are many people who don't even know I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
you did
keep it
not see,
tight.
you have not even seen a picture of me pregnant. Um,
Yeah.
so if there's anybody out there that knows
Mm-hmm.
me and they see this podcast, they go, Carla got kids? Like, yes,
Yeah.
there's 2.
Yeah.
Um, I our biggest fear is just in general the things we see on social media, the things we see on TV. Carlton has like 100 billion cameras around the house.
Mm,
We, it's more of a societal fear, and then you have TV in itself and certain shows. Some of my favorite shows, Law and Order SVU, Criminal Minds. Those in itself puts an added fear to you. And then there was an experience in my childhood on my dad's side that just makes me think about as they get older, are they going to be around the right people because it was my dad's cousin, I believe, like lost her, she lost her daughter to violence. And those are the things that I now fully understand why my mother kept us so close to her breast, is just to make sure that you live to see another day. But in navigating that fear, I also understand that my children have to be able to have freedom to explore and to find out who they are. But so the best thing for me to do to navigate the fear is to educate myself as well as educate them. As they get older, you know, stranger alert, like all of those things that were also said to me as I was growing up, because I feel most moms, whether you have a son or a daughter, that is your biggest fear. And it, the fear got even more as we renewed our nurse's license starting in 2021. They added human trafficking
Mm,
into our required education for our CEUs to renew our license. And
mhm,
that kind of just was another big whoa. So this is very prominent.
mhm,
And, you know, it wasn't as in our face as it is today, but it is there. And you know, you just have to be very aware of your surroundings. Like I try not to go shopping with them, especially now that it's getting dark outside at like 5.
mm, mhm,
You know, you try not to do anything, especially if I'm alone. I have to be with Carlton. Like I'd have to be with my in-laws. I'd have to be with my mom. You know, I would rather be in a group as opposed to just me and them alone
mhm,
when it starts getting dark.
mhm.
So that is probably my biggest fear as a mom.
Fear of safety. I mean, for your
Yes.
kids. And
Yeah.
that for me, I am so paranoid. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I really am. And Carlton is Carla's husband for you guys. And he's a tech guy. And I don't want to, like, undermine what he's like his I'm not going to try to attack or not attack explain his credentials because I know he's very well qualified, but but he's a from as an outsider he's a tech guy and he knows it very well, and he reminds me a lot of my husband Mauricio, who is not a, I mean he's tech but he's not, you know, he doesn't have his degree and all that stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And but he loves tech and with the cameras and all that stuff. And but like for me, you know, this is such a problem for moms when we, and not just moms, parents in general,
Hmm.
when our kids get old enough, when it's time to kind of, oh, this is a big one, like send them off to school.
Hmm.
And finding that school that makes you feel comfortable, where you feel like your kid is comfortable, you know, having that separation, this is more anxiety, but that separation anxiety when you drop them off, you know, those two kind of work together. I would say like fear and anxiety. I experience it every single day. Sometimes I have to
Hmm.
pinch myself like, oh my gosh, you know, my daughter isn't with me right now. And it's the scariest thought. Like, what is she doing? Is she okay? And it's just, I think that kind of like that panic attack, like that anxiety is us moms we deal with, I'm sure, like all the time. I know I do. And yeah, that, you know, like childhood traumas and you know how you erase things that you go through. It's a, it all plays into kind of like how you raise your child and how you go about handling your mental health while raising your
Hmm.
child. So that is so profound what you said, because like the fear for the safety of your child is a huge,
Hmm.
huge deal. And that's why it's so difficult sometimes, whether it's a nanny, preschool, you know, regular school, whatever it is. Um, it's so difficult, like choosing the right, like now, especially like even with the mass killings and all that stuff going around.
Hmm.
That's scary. That
That's
is
very scary.
scary. And
Hmm.
if I as a mom let myself think about that too much, I'll be consumed with that. Anxiety, fear,
It
all that will take over.
it actually changed the way I purchased things for Talia this year.
Wow.
Because one of the recommendations is don't let them wear the light up shoes anymore.
Oh,
And
really?
you think back to our childhood, and it was the coolest thing to have the shoes that lit up.
Tell me
And
about the
she,
shoes. Why are they, hold on, because now you're gonna unlock another
I'm
you
unlocking.
fear and
I'm
raise
sorry
my
for unlocking fears.
anxiety. Wait a minute.
Because the shoes light up, any little touch, any little knock, those shoes light up. So if they are hiding under something, or if they're somewhere where
Mm,
it's dark and the shoes light up, then the person knows where they are.
wow.
So I was like, okay, well, there we go, fun shoes out the door.
Wow.
And so it just between, like I said, the whole safety, the school shootings, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
really has changed the way. I was a latchkey kid. I walked home. I
Yeah.
had my key. Like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know,
Different
yeah,
time, you know?
different times. But
Yeah.
and the funny thing is like when I was growing up in New York,
Mm-hmm.
even though I walked home, once I got into like middle school, and when you're in high school, you take a train and two buses, like you're
Mm-hmm.
by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, my dad though, I don't know how he had all these people, like CIA type stuff. He knew where, when,
Yeah.
how, what, who. But it's harder when you live in states like Florida or a more suburban area,
Mm-hmm.
or what I would like to call a suburban city, which is really what it is. Does anybody
Mm-hmm.
really know their neighbor like how we did
Yeah.
back in the day?
Yeah. That's
Everybody's
changed.
kind of, yeah, it's very changed. You
Mm-hmm.
feel very isolated. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to bring in your own group of protection, and that's
Mm-hmm.
basically what we've tried to do is to keep a group of protection of people who we can trust in time of need.
Yeah. A lot of the times moms, uh, they have this problem, and parents in general, when they live away from their families and friends, anybody that can help out. And especially like you said, when you're talking about like walking home, or let's say you're at work and you can't pick up your child on time, like there's just so much that goes into when you've moved out of state away from your family, or you're in a different country or something like
Mhm.
that. It's a lot to consider. And yeah, so there's just so much there. um I think the biggest thing is you gotta maybe get to know people. You gotta
Mhm.
maybe, maybe join mommy's groups. And there's so many types of groups nowadays. If you are somewhere else, I mean, like I said, I'm not a therapist or anything, but like this is just talking about surviving motherhood,
Mhm.
especially away from your village. You
Yeah.
gotta get to like, that's what I would think is the best thing to do. Kind of form your own village away, home away from home. And maybe that can combat the fear and anxiety that we feel as moms with our kids going off to wherever they go off to every day. you know
Yes. 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 Yes.
so fear, anxiety, and depression, they often manifest together.
Mhm.
And depression is just kind of like, I would say, like that, the next sibling in that family of issues with mental health, and balancing your mental health. uh, So, do you ever feel the symptoms of depression? Because again, I'm not a licensed professional, so I can't say have you ever felt depressed, because we don't know for sure. But do you ever feel that way? If you're comfortable sharing that, and if so, how do you balance those feelings? How do you get out that funk when you do get those symptoms?
So mine came with when my second child was born. Um, it was a lot easier. I'm sorry, a
Yeah.
lot easier with my first. As you remember, I helped your mom plan a whole wedding
Oh
with
my
with
gosh.
a full like 6 month old in a
Woo.
stroller, diaper
Yes.
blowout, like, but I was
Superhero
still,
mama.
yes, still
That was crazy.
living, still still doing Carla.
Yeah.
And then when my second came along, it's like you can't get your head above water.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can't catch a break. And the two of them were so vastly different, but
Mm.
similar. So I had the talk with my gynecologist, and she says, okay, you may be having a little bit of, post baby blues, postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she's like, well, how are we going to fix this? So it was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of communication with my husband. That's when we first got a housekeeper to help around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, being a nurse, I work 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I had my 5 day a week administrative job, uh, it wasn't as bad with my first as it was once the second baby came along. And you still have those moments where you're just like, who am I? And I said it to a couple of friends. I say it to a lot of friends who are new moms because, they're like, Carla, how do you do it? I said, listen, you knew who you were up until the point that you had your child. Our whole life, we literally are trying to figure out who we are as a person. At around 25, we finally, it's like some kind of light bulb went off, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, this is the person I am. This is how I'm going to be. There's no changing me. These are my spots. This is my leopard. People are just going to have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're now in charge of a whole new human. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the expectation from society is that you're just supposed to know how to be a mom. I just figured
Mm-hmm.
out how to be an adult. Like,
Right.
how do you expect me
That
to be a
part.
mom? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And and then you get the whole, well, you chose to have kids. Well, if nobody chooses to have kids, the human species is going to disappear. We will be
Yeah.
extinct.
Yeah.
So it's that in itself is now where you are learning to be a mom, a wife,
Mm-hmm.
like, but still keep the essence of who you are.
Mm.
And that in itself can be difficult because single Carla and married with children Carla are two different Carlas.
Mm.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
know exactly what I'm talking
Oh, I
about.
know what you mean. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's where I think the depression sneaks in on people, and a lot of women as a whole, when you explain it like that, it's like they go, "Oh my God,
Mm.
you're so right." Like,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't. We
Mm-hmm.
don't we don't know who we are as much. It's like if we
Mm-hmm.
were one again and we're
Mm-hmm.
starting out life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you look at, like your mom, my mom,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where they're now empty nesting, and it's like they're back at single again, and they're
Yeah.
like living it
They're
up.
living
Where
their
you go? Oh,
lives.
we're going to hear Y and Z, and we're going
Yeah,
to see
every second.
Dara, and
Every
like,
second.
where are you
Yeah.
going?
Good for
I'm like,
you.
well, yay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, but that's why we put in PTO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why we put
Try
in
to
PTO.
squeeze it in when you
It
can.
Yes, it's just to sometimes go back to when we didn't have kids for that
Mm-hmm.
brief 2 days or however long you're able to get your PTO approved for, um, and just enjoy it to the fullest. And
Yeah.
and that is truly what kind of helps with the depression. But one of the big things is just, I'm sorry, communication with your significant other. Like, that is
Mm-hmm.
a huge part of it. Just
Mm-hmm.
letting them know, I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm not, this is not it today. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, my allergies.
The
I live in Florida.
allergies right now. No, it's everywhere. It's
It's bad.
everywhere. Oh.
So that's just one of the big things, is just keeping that nice open communication, because
Mm-hmm.
as you bottle it up, you're then making yourself more alone. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if your partner doesn't help you work through it, that's where that's where you have what they call the married single mom type thing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
yes, yes,
That's
and
some real
and
stuff right there.
that's some real stuff. And so and it's not to bash men, it's just that they don't, sometimes they don't understand
Mm-hmm.
like the mental load that women have. We
Mm.
are literally project managers with
Mm-hmm.
nobody to delegate to. So, am I wrong?
I mean, you're
Am I
not
wrong?
wrong. You're preaching
Am I wrong?
facts right now.
Okay, we have to figure out groceries, whose
Mm-hmm.
closet needs what, who needs underwear, the laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
what
the
school activities,
laundry.
what school's
Oh.
project, how are the grades in school? Do we need to get a
Mm-hmm.
tutor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're out of milk. When did we get out
Mm-hmm.
of milk? Oh, but
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And who do we have to delegate it to? Our
Mm-hmm.
bosses at work have people to delegate all these
Mm-hmm.
multiple tasks to, and that all contributes to depression because again,
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge mental load. Like when you sit down tonight, even though I'll be watching the Real Housewives of Potomac and Family Karma, at any given point in time, my brain will go to tomorrow. Okay, so we have a
Yeah.
birthday party to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta, when I wake up, I gotta make sure that I cook dinner before we leave so that when we come back, we have food because you never not have food in your house
Yeah.
when you go to a party because you don't know if
Yeah.
your children are going to eat what's there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that that is a big thing, and I am truly blessed to have an amazing spouse who responds to my communication and
Mm-hmm.
reciprocates and says, well, get a housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
um if this needs to be done, let's find somebody who can do it. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to take on all of that. You have enough going on. There's enough going on in the house. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's find somebody to help. So that
Yeah. That's so
literally,
good.
we need to go back to the Caribbean where, you know,
Mm.
the help, it's like the whole village, your whole village was there to
Everybody
help,
is there. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
everybody is there. Everybody
Um,
is there.
yeah. I mean, you said so much there that everything that you said is on point. I mean, we as moms, we're generally worried about everything. And I think that honestly, I think the difference between us and our male spouses is the fact that they don't they don't think about it.
No.
Just straight up, they don't think about it. They literally just, it's very easy for them to just kind of say, oh, okay, yeah, we have laundry backed up, whatever. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's how Mauricio is. I'm just saying from the pattern I've seen, and he's not perfect, okay? But the
No, that's,
pattern,
I'm not saying Charles is
yeah,
brilliant. I'm
no,
not.
the pattern I've seen with men, and when they have kids like dads, and they're married, is that the women worry because I think naturally we are nurturers, and
Mhm.
we're constantly like, everything needs to be lined up so that this all works or it's going to fall
Yeah.
apart, right? But with the men, they're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do what needs to be done,
Mhm.
and once it's done, then all the other stuff I'll figure out on the back end, right? What matters is that we got money coming in, food on the table, and a roof over our heads. Everything else can fall in line. And we're like, no, 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 but wait, because all these other little things, if we don't get that done, that's going to catch up and it's going to fall apart. Like, I promise you it will. It might not fall apart the first month, but down the road, it's just going to be like, we're going to be in debt because we're going to be buying new clothes for laundry because laundry's not getting washed, right?
Yep.
like all those little things that we're talking about.
Yep.
Like, we're gonna be starving, so we're gonna be ordering out because we don't have groceries in the house. Groceries in the house. So like, it's just like that. The main thing you said, or not the main thing, one of the main things you said was communication.
Mhm.
Having that communication is essential, and it's easier said than done
Mhm.
because communicating, not every couple has that, and that's something that I think we have to work on, or you have to work on in your marriage or a relationship if you don't have that. Like, because if you don't have communication and you have kids,
It's very difficult. You'll feel like an island. You have
yeah.
like you are in the middle of the Pacific with
Oh
no
my
way
god.
with no way to turn. So
Yeah.
and all of that actually will build the anxiety, then
Mm-hmm.
build the fear, and then the depression, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have all these other emotions that come in. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's hard, and I praise the women who are able to raise children by themselves because I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Yeah.
it is it is hard. It is
Right.
hard.
It is
Um,
hard.
like you said, the toys will be on the floor today. That's
Mm-hmm.
just
We
what's
speaking
gonna
of that, we
happen.
just had YFMF mom, that's your favorite mom friend, mom. She's in the Facebook group. So you guys go join it because you have some fantastic moms in there. Carla isn't online. You might as well just, she's not online. But so she's not a part of the group, but that's because she's not online, basically. But Brandy Durham, we just had an episode talking about navigating single motherhood, and boy, does it get real on that episode. Like, she is crying, and I am like tearing up. Like, it's like real tears, okay? Because she delves into the issue of, and it goes to mental health. So this episode and that episode kind of like line up, and because hats off to you single moms out there.
Hats off.
Hats off. Like, I
Hats
don't know
off.
how you do it. I don't know how you do it, but Brandy kind of lays that out. So you guys can see that on my YouTube channel, Lay's Corner. Just a quick plug, and also the full video on my Your Favorite Mom Friends Facebook group. You can see that there and connect with Brandy and the other moms that have been on the podcast. So yes, had to plug that because she's phenomenal. She is phenomenal. She has done some things that when I hear her talk, I'm just like, yo, that's crazy.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Crazy. Yeah. So let's go into our next question, if you will. Balancing motherhood and mental health can be really difficult. And, I sit here and I'm kind of like interviewing everyone and talking, but the reality is my days I'm not smiling. I don't look like this. Like, I'm not dressed up all day. Okay. Like, this is not the reality of it. The reality of it is, listen, you got a robe on or something. The hair is up, there's no makeup, and you're being a mom at home and you're taking care of your child, right? That's the reality of it. But so that is a really hard thing to do when you're balancing your mental health, trying to like have that me time and all that and maintain some semblance of yourself, but also give to your child and like make them feel that love and that special bond with you at the same time. Is it ever too much to handle doing that? In the sense of like, how you talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the podcast, where you talked about finding that me time, establishing those goals that you have set for the day, whether it's washing your hair, walking on the treadmill for 20. But how do you actually balance that? Like, how do you take control of those emotions? Like I said before, the fear, the anxiety, the depression, they all kind of play together, and balance that day to day. Like, how do you overcome that when you feel like all of that coming on?
I go and sit on the toilet.
Oh. That's what I love about this podcast. You guys are so real. This is gonna be part of the highlight. Okay? Wow. Tell me about it, sis.
So I literally go and sit on the toilet. I come into my room, I close the door, and I pretend that I'm using the bathroom. And I just sit down and take a deep breath because it can get overwhelming. And, they still will come in and knock on the door. I'm like, just give mommy 5 minutes. Give mommy 5 minutes.
Yes.
And they'll go back outside and take their tablets, or can I watch Netflix? Can we watch My Little Pony? Yes, you know how to put it on. By all means, go ahead. And because we've taught them what profiles they can go on. And they know if they go on any other profile but their own, they will lose their privilege.
Yeah.
So, and I just sit on the toilet, and I'm not peeing or pooping. I have the lid down and I'm just sitting there, and I look like Atlas. with the weight of the world on my shoulder. And yeah, and I
Yeah.
just think, and I take, and it may sound weird, but believe it or not,
It does not sound weird.
I am so like those deep breaths, and it's because you're
Yeah.
locked in a cocoon. It's silent
Yes.
in your room, in the bathroom, away from everything. And
Yeah.
um if you remember in the movie Sex in the City,
With
um
Miranda, was it Miranda that did that?
no, Charlotte, her
Oh,
daughter
Charlotte. That's
put,
what I meant. I always mix
yes,
up the
put
names.
the red
Yeah.
hands on her white skirt, and she
Mm-hmm.
locked herself in the closet and just had a good cry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to sit on the toilet and have a good cry,
Have a good
okay?
cry.
And just have a good cry and let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you have to cope.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Those bathroom breaks
and
are everything.
they're everything.
They're
Oh my
everything.
goodness.
I did not value the
Listen,
bathroom until I had a child. I did
no,
not like this. It's like, listen, I need you.
isn't that,
But you know,
it
the
was
funny
just
thing
like
is, Maurice is going to kill me for this, but he'll go for like an hour. And I'm like, what are you doing in there?
that.
He's
Listen,
mad.
and now I understand why men poop for an
For,
hour, 2 hours.
I'm like,
They are not.
surely,
They are not. They are literally in
surely you're not.
there. They are in there, just honestly having like a
Oh, man.
moment of silence.
This is so real. Oh, man. This is facts all day long. You no, but they're gonna kill us for this probably. I don't know if Carlton is nearby, but let me tell you about. And I know Mauricio's probably hearing me.
It is what it is, man. It is what it
It's
is.
the truth. It's the truth. Like they really,
Mhm.
they know. They know what to do, and they've been onto it for a very long time.
A very long time.
Because it took me a little while. I'm like,
What are you
surely,
doing in there?
what are you
Doing?
doing?
No,
An hour?
nope, they have already done their business. They put
Long
the
time
lid
ago.
down and
Yeah,
they flush the toilet, and they're just sitting
sitting.
there. And then now with the advent of phones and all
Oh
the
yeah.
interact, so you're literally
Yeah,
in
you're
there
not
like
reading the air
flipping through
freshener
TikTok.
anymore.
No.
You're not. Get to know all the ingredients, everything that they use. That's not
Exactly.
what it's about anymore.
Right? No, you know, it's
You can
funny.
watch a movie.
He actually came to me and he goes, "Babe, I think I could make our own Dawn Power Wash soap." And I go, "When did you learn that?"
I love
Probably sitting on the
Frozen.
toilet. Come on.
Listen, Carlton is brilliant, man. I'm not surprised he'd even come to you with that. That's impressive. Really? Wow.
Really?
I would never even like, wow, okay, that's cool. No, but yeah,
You know.
that toilet thing is real. I love that. I love that because that's so real, you know?
Notice I didn't say sitting in a jacuzzi. It takes too long to fill
No,
up the tub
the
and do
fastest place to
it's a
go.
production. It's just sit
Yeah.
on the toilet. No, sit on the
Yeah. Here's
toilet.
the thing though. So well you lock the door. So that's good because I know that if I don't lock the door, which sometimes I forget,
Oh no,
yeah,
they'll come
Milan will
in.
come.
They'll come in. And then they want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to
Yeah.
you though.
And
I want a
close
minute alone.
and they'll come up like right there. Like, yo, back off. This is so like back up a little bit.
Back it up. Back it
Back
up.
it up, man.
Mommy is on the toilet. They don't care.
Yo, they don't care. They do
They
not
don't
care.
care.
I know a lot of moms can like completely relate with this because wow, that's keeping it real, 100%. Turning it down a little bit, getting a little bit heavier again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Lack of self-love and body image issues are generally kind of like packaged together, and they all fall under the mental health, umbrella of issues, right? I know I've had them, and not in a sense of, well, I think not every mom, a lot of moms who suffer from either postpartum depression, baby blues, all of that stuff, you kind of like, and then your body is also going through a lot of changes. You kind of like question yourself and doubt yourself. You probably criticize the way you look and just the way you feel in general, right? So self-love or lack thereof and body image is it's a real issue, and a lot of moms face this issue today. So this isn't a weight loss episode, and I hope to do one of those at some point. But it is an important topic that affects a lot of moms, right? Mm-hmm. So do you ever, find yourself criticizing yourself for body image issues, or you just kind of like have, I don't want to say self-hate, but that's a strong word, but like you feel highly critical of yourself? You ever feel that way, and why?
Yes. And again, I think with every pregnancy, the snapback uh, uh, um, is different. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the queen bee herself, after her twins, said, I am not going to get the pressures of society to get rid of my fupa, so you people need to leave me alone. Yeah. So, as women, we kind of have to take that type of advice from those people who are constantly in the public eye. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was hard because, again, mm-hmm. I knew who 110 to 115 pound Carla was, mm-hmm. up until I had my first kid. Mm-hmm. And now I'm 140 pounds, mm-hmm. and I'm like, what is this? What is this weight? Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I tried to work out and mm-hmm. eat and do all these crazy things to fit back into the clothes in my closet, mm-hmm. not realizing between pregnancy hormones, being pregnant, all of that changed the whole structure of my body. My hips got wider.
Yes.
Okay. The boobies, where did these come from? Yes. Like where, Leilani, yes. Where? Okay. Yes. I was literally, Kanye said it best, a bee sting. And all of a sudden now I have these things. Oh I know. I hope it doesn't get the podcast canceled. But
Kanye, help me, Lord.
I know, and I don't even know. So, ironically, yeah, my sister-in-law, like, she lives in fabulous life in Abu Dhabi. I mean, hello,
Dhabi, okay,
Real Housewives of Dubai.
Abu
yes.
Dhabi, okay.
I like Abu Dhabi, Real Housewives of Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Anyway, yes. So like, to go back and do stuff, and she's Jamaican. She speaks English. It's hard for her to use her architect degree. So she started dabbling in like nutrition and life coach and all this stuff. So she did interviews and she'd put stuff up on her Instagram, and I'm listening to it, and it was all very positive. And it was like, okay, Carla, well, either you're gonna just try to fit in these clothes and just not like how you look, or buy clothes for what you are now, and instead of working out to lose weight, work out to just stay healthy and just eat right and feel good about yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's not an easy process. I am still going through it. But yes, I used to wear a 0 to a size 2, and now I'm a 6 to 8. So, and believe it or not, sometimes when I put on the clothes, I'm like, dang, I still got it. Like,
that's good though.
Yeah, right. So that's basically what you do. And it doesn't help that I have, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which throws off all my thyroid, which also contributes to weight, your anxiety, just your whole mood in general. And my best friend, who, she's not a mom, but she's a woman like all of us. And as we got older, her body changed, and that's what she says. She goes, I hate going to the gym, but my trainer is the person who basically tells me, get up and do it, because if you don't do this, then you're going to be complaining, and that's what it is.
Yourself and
exactly. Yeah. So it's just trying to maintain the body positivity, especially after all the changes. And then sometimes, we were joking about it the other day at work, a bunch of us, like a lot of us moms, we were like, remember when we, in our 20s, when we complained about what we look like?
Right.
Yeah. No.
It's so
Right?
real though. Like it's so
Isn't it?
real. You know, my journey has been up and down. I
Mhm.
have for most of my life, from like obviously from like a baby to around 20 years old, or let's say around 18. So I was a little bit more than most of my life. Wait, a little bit less than most of my life. What am I saying? My math is off. That's why I'm a lawyer and not, the lawyer,
Not a
cue the lawyer
mathematician.
jokes.
That's keep it
Exactly, not a
together.
mathematician. But up until around 18, I've always been like really small, right?
Mhm.
Really small meaning like, what society claims is like thinner on the smaller
Mhm.
side. And then after that, it was just like up and down, whether it was the freshman 15 or whatever. Like, so I've had that up and down with my weight. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, it was just like, it's funny because I was already, after my wedding, I had already gained weight back again. Because some people, they go through this where their bodies just don't have a fast metabolism. There are people who are, on the larger side, much larger side. And aside from maybe eating, not choosing the healthiest eating habits, some of them really just, their metabolism isn't great and they have that extra struggle than someone who is maybe a size 00. They don't have, they can eat whatever they want and be fine. There's some people out there that actually know that are like that. They can eat whatever they
Yes,
want.
they can eat whatever they
They
want.
can eat whatever they
Whereas
want.
if I look at things now, it's like, oh, I'm
Oh,
gonna
you
add
just
10 pounds.
put on a pounds.
Just
So
put
that's
the
something.
weight on.
Yeah, like so I went through that. And like so it's just about like for me, what you said just now just makes so much sense. It's about, trying to don't focus so much on necessarily what's on the scale, what the number is showing, because especially as moms, you know, I can't show me a mom that didn't gain weight at all during pregnancy, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, like you're lying. Like there's no way. Like I don't
No.
care. Like I
Mhm.
didn't gain weight for most of my pregnancy, and then at the end, it just shut up,
Like out of
right?
nowhere, 27 weeks, and it was like,
It just went out. Like I was fine. Like I kid you not. And then, so like for me, it was just about getting to a place because I had gained a lot of weight after my pregnancy. Getting to a place to where I could be happy, but at the same time, like I'm eating and healthier and I'm not perfect, but I'm happy about myself. And as long as like you feel happy, I think that's the key here. You're happy about yourself and your mental health is there, and you try to like push yourself to keep healthy. I For me is like don't focus too much on the pounds, because that is when like you start having that almost self-hate and the body image issues come in, and it just tears you apart,
yeah.
and it affects your life with going out on vacations and doing all these things. It's just like you don't want people to see you. I've been there. I know what
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah.
and like where you feel like, oh, you're so self-conscious, but
Mhm.
it's just, trying to reset that mind. What is your sister-in-law's name for everyone? Tell everyone her name
Oh.
so that they can
Oh, her
know.
name, her name is Camille. She lives, like I said, in Abu Dhabi. She's absolutely amazing,
Mm-hmm.
a very, very positive person, and she is very open about it because
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you said is how she will describe herself. She's literally an open book on her Instagram about it. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
Camille Macros.
Sam's mindset macros, is that what it is?
Yes, yes.
Um,
But the one thing that I love is like even when she comes to visit and we do the big cook up, the oxtail, the macaroni and cheese, the rice and peas,
oh
the
my
yeah, yeah,
gosh.
girl, all the good
Oh.
stuff. Like
Mm.
she, whilst we're doing it, will go, let's do it this way the next time, see if you guys like it. Because we're still keeping our traditional foods, but we are preparing them in a little bit of a healthier way, to help. And so when I speak to her, she's like, it's not about, cutting things out. It's just giving things its right portion. Like she tells me I could eat rice. Like, what? Man, don't have to tell me twice.
Right? Like,
Like,
the
wow.
carb thing, man. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
but it's carbs are your friend, apparently. You can't completely cut them out.
You can't completely
So,
cut out carbs. Like, not
yeah,
completely. No.
no, not
And
completely. So,
yeah. And it's hard to
And
maintain for a long time to go low carb, like really low carb, like
yes,
keto low carb for
yeah.
a really, really long
Or that, what
time.
was that? Atkins, the Atkins diet,
Atkins
like,
is
and then
very similar
they
to
re
that as well.
and then everybody got kidney failure. So,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
so
Jeez.
yeah. So that in itself is she brings a lot of positivity to her clients in that
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
And that has kind of, see, I didn't tell her, but you know, I watched her videos.
Yeah.
Now she's gonna know.
Now she's
Um,
gonna know. She
now she's
knows
gonna
now.
know.
Oh man.
That, you know, I've watched her videos, and it's what helped me go into the closet and like take out all the pants and just give them away and not say I'm working out to fit into the
To
size
fit
4.
back.
No, I am going to go and buy the size 6. And if I lose 2 pounds, great. But guess what? I still got jeans that fit me.
Finding the right, clothes to fit you. So
Mhm,
because that, I mean, again, we're not experts, but that I would, for me, it would boost my confidence. I think that's the biggest
mhm,
thing is having that, because if you like hyper obsess about fitting into the clothes that you wore before you had kids, that can really be a damper on your mental health. And,
yeah.
you
And
know,
and that was a big release for me when I released myself from that chokehold, because it really was a chokehold.
hmm,
I want to say a huge part of my depression went away.
wow, wow,
So it was a big contributing factor to my depression. So a huge part of
hmm,
my depression went away
wow.
because at this point, all it's not to say that, you know, it's not that I'm skinny for my body type.
Hmm.
Um, it's just that I jiggle.
Every let me
I
say
jiggle.
this because you keeping it 100%, but every mom, like no matter what size you are, whether you're, let's say you were 100 pounds pre-pregnancy, pre-kids, and then you became 120 and you're unhappy. I think that's just all about like your mental health, or you're 200
Mhm,
pounds or 300 pounds or whatever it was. Like I think the biggest thing, we all have our own journeys that we walk, and it's just
mhm,
all about applying it to ourselves to find that inner happiness. And like you
mhm,
said, the biggest takeaway for me at least is just making sure to stop focusing on the number for a minute. And honestly, if I feel like if you feel like you're way beyond where you want to be, if you do these things, and again, I am not a body expert, but I just feel like for me, it would help. And just stop focusing on number, focus on like just making yourself happy
mhm.
um and eating, right. I guess right meaning balanced meals, or
Yeah,
just
balance.
being
It's not,
healthy.
and nobody, yeah, still go out and have your piece of cake. Like nobody's not saying this
That
is why
part.
we now have high-waisted jeans and high-waisted bikinis.
Yes.
They are life, okay?
That fire. Yes. I
Yeah,
love that.
okay.
I love
So
that.
it's still about you still have to enjoy life. I mean,
Enjoy your
otherwise
life.
it's
Yeah.
gonna go, we're gonna go back to going more into depression, and
Yes.
you don't need that.
If your
And
child had, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I said, and one of the big things is, and I imagine Mauricio does the same thing, is that
Mhm.
every day I love you just the way you are, babe.
Yes. No matter
That's
what.
it.
And
I
I've
love you just the,
fluctuated. I have gone down, 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 and I've gone
I
up, up,
know, and
up.
you
And
look
he doesn't.
amazing
Oh,
now.
thank
You
you.
look amazing.
Thank you. No, but he doesn't, it never changes. And
No.
that's, it's like amazing that he's like that. But that's why, that's why I married him. And that is such a good partner. Like
Mhm,
having a partner that is, they ignore that. So long as you're healthy and they're looking out for you in that way, I
mhm.
think it's a good thing. That goes towards helping your mental health too,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you have to me, let me be clear on this, and I'm not mincing words. If you have a partner that, sometimes this happens in our culture, in our Caribbean culture, where they're not afraid to kind of like beat you down and say, you look, I'm not I don't like the way you look. Like there's a way to deliver it that
Hmm.
won't hurt you. And sometimes I think it should be communicated. Like us moms, we should not be afraid to say, like, listen, you doing that doesn't help me. It's hurting me. And
Hmm.
that's when sometimes the communication is broken. But a
Yep.
lot of the times this happens, unfortunately. This is a real thing in our Caribbean
Hmm.
culture where the men aren't afraid to be like, they will use the fat word. They will tell
Yeah.
you, they'll tell you that, unfortunately. And I don't know, I mean, I shouldn't just beat up on our Caribbean people because there are men, there are plenty of great Caribbean men out there. But at the same time, there's also, it's, I think potentially it's in other cultures. I just can't
Yeah.
speak on them, you know? I think we
Yeah.
should normalize them not doing that and
Yes.
telling them to stop using that word because it doesn't help, in my opinion, at least. You
Because you
know?
don't see us go walking around telling them about their bare belly.
It's true. We don't do that. We don't, you know,
No.
um, it's, yeah. I mean, and again, I know we're gonna hear about this because
We gonna hear about it, girl. We
we
gonna
are
hear
getting into
about
some
it.
stuff, okay? But it's like, and I know I'm sure there are women out there that they do say and use like mentally abusive. I should let me refrain from using some of these medical type
Yeah,
words,
yeah, yeah.
but you know, they might say things that's upsetting to their husbands, and that's not healthy either,
No.
or spouses, or uh, boyfriends, whatever. But the point is that I think that speaking as a mom, I think that men who do that, whether they're Caribbean or not, using that word, the fat word, or any
Hmm.
other word like that, that's something that needs to stop because that can truly damage a mom's mental health. They don't have that
Yep.
inner support. That's terrible.
Yep.
So we're gonna hear about it. I just know we're gonna hear about it. We got some stuff, but sometimes it needs to be said.
It
So
needs to be said. It needs to be said.
yeah. Um, when you're under so much stress as a mom, sometimes addictions creep in, and addiction doesn't necessarily mean drugs.
Hmm.
Addictions, happens in many forms. Like you can become a shopaholic, spend money on expensive things, purses, whatever, like expensive perfumes. You could be addicted to your phone, consumed by just social media. Um, you know, overeating potentially. Um, and it's just it manifests in so many different forms. Do you ever find yourself uh, a falling victim to any type of addiction because of the stress that comes on sometimes as a mom? And when you do find yourself falling into that, how do you overcome it?
So I have two. TikTok is one of them because there are some people
Ooh,
on there, girl. You know what I'm talking about. They're
yes, I do.
hilarious, and you just
Yes.
need to see. Like I'm following, I forget her name. It's like a whole series. Netflix needs to pick her up, and she says, "Okay, bye." I love her. It's Veron. It's
Oh,
fabulous. Yes, her name is Veronica. So her,
wow.
and then actually reading. Reading is one of my vices from
Wow.
since I was young. That was
Mm-hmm.
one of my coping stress relieving mechanisms because
Mm-hmm.
it is my brain going into a fantasy world, and that's where I plant myself to get away from reality. And I promise you, a nuclear war could be happening outside when I'm reading.
Mm.
I would not know. If we are the
Wow.
last humans left on Earth, oh, what happened? Literally me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to pull it back and catch myself because they will come, mommy, mommy. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to see me on my phone. And then what ends up happening is that they'll just go on their tablets. So then
Mm.
it becomes all three of us in a room
Not
on social
communicating.
media and not communicating.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, Carla, put down the phone,
Mm-hmm.
stop reading, put down your Kindle,
Mm-hmm.
um, and let's paint. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go outside. Let's take out the glitter. Why? Who takes out glitter and gives it to children? I do, apparently. Um,
Yeah, no, I did that
but
once and I was like, nope.
nope, never again.
Yeah.
But yes, like, so those type of things, um, you know, thankfully it's not a shopping thing. Good God, I can't even imagine. But then again, I am on Amazon a lot, but I'm buying necessities. It's
Amazon,
not
I
to
think
say that
we all struggle with
I don't
Amazon.
think it's that, because sometimes you can't go to the store and it comes by 5 p.m. So like,
Yeah.
why? So
Amazon is trouble.
Amazon is trouble. So
Hmm.
literally, I had gotten away from Facebook.
Hmm.
I want to say a long time ago.
Yeah.
I deactivated it and never went back. And
Yeah.
then because of the lockdown, my husband
Mm.
goes, "You gotta download this app called TikTok." And I go, "A what?" I'm like,
Oh my
"What?"
God. Yeah.
And the pandemic, like, yeah, so
Hmm.
because I'm pretty much social media silent.
Yeah,
And I
basically.
am. I don't post anything on there. I literally
Hmm.
just scroll through and see. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that's my addiction. And if we weren't talking right now, again, I'd be watching Potomac while flipping through TikTok.
The TikTok thing is real.
It's real.
That's
It's
so
bad.
real. Oh my gosh.
It's bad. It's bad.
I've like sometimes an hour will go by. I'm like, it's
And
funny.
like, where?
We had a guest on. That was on the very first episode actually. She came on, Kristen Henry King, and she talked about the fact that she tries to avoid TikTok because like literally an hour will go by,
You're in a
and
hole.
and it's yeah,
And then they have
it's
the
too
thing that
much.
comes up and says, "You've been scrolling for a long time, maybe." And I'm like, "Why are you telling me this? Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
Scroll."
the scroll. Oh my gosh, that's so real. Yeah, no.
Yes.
I can't really think about it's like I don't know that I have one thing. I mean, I think for me, I can't really think about if I were to like try to answer that question myself because there's a lot. I think for me it's being a busybody.
Mhm.
That's my coping mechanism, which honestly, I don't think that helps.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't help with your mental health. Like for me, I've always been told that I'm always on the go. And
Mhm.
when I'm sitting still, I lose it. So I think for me, it's like kind of flooding my calendar with all these things. And if I'm not, if I don't have, I'm the type of person like if I don't have something, if I'm not doing something between the hours of 9 to 5, and I'm just being like when I'm supposed to be working, um, even if I'm at work. That doesn't make okay because my work hours are different. So people might be listening like, what are you talking about? Like my work hours right now are really early. So like especially being on the West Coast, working East Coast. So like
Yeah.
if I don't fill up the time that the day hours are like where I can see daylight is a problem. And I think for me, that might be an addiction to just like, I don't know, like constantly going.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's technically an addiction or just like I don't know what that could be. But yeah, and social media. It's weird. Yeah, like
Yes,
maybe social media for sure.
for sure.
But
For
yeah,
sure.
like a
I
TikTok for
mean,
yeah.
give it up for Lent and you're like, "Oh my God, what have I done with my life?"
Oh man, yeah. All right, so kids are really intuitive, and when it's so hard. So many moms try to be strong and they try to say, oh, they're not gonna have a cry in front of their kids or have like a mental breakdown or anything like that. But sometimes it gets you and it catches you off guard. And even if you're not crying, your mood changes.
Mhm.
How do you because again, kids are really intuitive and they can kind of like figure out. I know that my daughter, like, if my mood changes in any way where I'm no longer mothering, but I'm like kind of caught up in my mood and there's something wrong, she immediately like starts passing me like all her like stuffed animals or any toy that she has, and she gets like super into me and what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, and I catch myself because I'm like, no, she's figuring out that something's off with me and I don't want
Mhm.
I bear that responsibility. I don't want her to feel that way. So like how do you deal with that when you feel bogged down by your emotions and you feel like your kids are catching on? Like, how do you deal with that? What are some
I don't
basic
think
things that you do?
I don't think I've really dealt with it very well because they know.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Yeah.
uh, Talia will come and say, "Mommy, can I get a hug?" I mean, so I'll give her a hug.
Wow.
Meaning I think it's more of she wants to give me a hug, but she doesn't know if she can. I don't know. So I give her a hug, and then Madison would want me to just sit down and us have cuddles. And then I'll it, it kind of brings me back into perspective. If anything, their hugs and love kind of just brings me back in a way. I don't know how to explain it.
Girl, you got me tearing up.
Because
I'm
I
listening to you and I'm like, hold it together because you're
man, I'm sorry
so.
because they're the ones that bring me back because I don't know how to do it. Um, so that's what they do. I get love and they bring me back
That's
to
so real.
that's I don't I that's my that probably when I read that question and they
You
just
know,
bring me back.
woo. Um, yeah, no, like I didn't expect that.
I'm
Because
sorry.
no, but it's so like that's such a real response. Like I that shows that, and thank you for being so vulnerable and real with us
Yeah, I'm
because
sorry.
no, it's good. Again, I definitely have those days and
hmm And that's
it's
probably how Milan
mhm.
is giving you a hug is by giving you
Oh
that and she's bringing you back
yeah.
because you are so far gone you're having a hard time bringing yourself back.
Yeah.
So the
She'll
only
do the
way
hugs too.
yes, that's
She'll
what I'm
do the
saying.
hugs. Yeah,
She's
she'll do
bringing
the
you but you
hugs.
ain't bringing yourself back, boo. She brought you
She
back.
brought me back. She brought me back. That's
hmm
so real. But I know for a fact she'd get super attentive to me.
hmm
And
She is
there
bringing you
was,
back. You're not bringing
yeah,
anything back.
yeah, yeah.
Not.
Man, that's real. Yeah, she's definitely attentive. And it's interesting to hear you say it with your girls too, because um sometimes we can't keep it all together.
No, we can't.
And we try to be strong. I know like Brandy and I we talked about this in 2 episodes ago, but like we try to be strong and sometimes we have to like let the kids uh people might disagree with this, but we have to be okay knowing that the kids love us regardless of the mask that we try to put up as being a
hmm
strong mom
Yep.
you know so yeah, that is such a thing, like because often we find ourselves trying to put on this like front that we have it all together and everything, like
hmm
we're good, and they
And we're
they
not.
they see right through it. I feel like they
But
really
we're
do.
human. The thing is that
Yeah.
we're human beings and we can only stay strong and upright for so long and holding it together.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need a hug to bring you back down from that volcano of what it is. That it's just like it's like if it's God's embrace through the innocence of a child, just bringing you back, just just bringing you back to your center, and sometimes you just need that. I mean, after and then they'll turn around and spill applesauce on the floor, but that's
Yeah, then they
fine.
go back. That's
It's
so true.
fine.
They go right back to like kid mode.
Yes,
Like they say,
but
it's
it's like, okay, I did my
I
job.
did my
You know,
job. Yeah,
God told me I needed to bring mommy back. I did it.
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's honestly that that is that is I it's not me, it's them. It's them,
yeah.
it's not me.
Wow,
It's not,
wow.
yeah. Because I haven't figured out how to do it yet. So when I do, I'll
Yeah,
let you know.
yes. Um, Taking quality time to yourself You mentioned it earlier. It's really important as a mom. And oftentimes we don't find the time to do this. Brief moments, that's not what I mean when I say quality time. Brief moments to kind of like, take 20 minutes here, take 10 minutes there. So it's few and far between. Let's, instead of talking about those brief moments, how do you go about actually maybe taking half a day? Is that possible as a mom, would you say? And how would you go about doing it? Where's your first place that you would go to?
So it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
I did not realize when you become, not even after being married, just more so once you have a child, there's so much planning involved just to be able to have lunch with my best friend, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Or just to say, okay, quality time, not only for myself, but quality time with my husband, because that's a relationship. That's something that we still need to keep going. Because, if you took any marriage counseling class, that's the one thing they tell you. After your kids, you still need
you need to make
to
time.
make time and feed your marriage.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, this last week, I was at my gynecology office and speaking with my gynecologist, and she said 90% of her patients are having a hard time finding quality time.
Yeah.
And it's because our world has made us so more isolated than how we were before, that you really have to go through a lot of effort. So I find my quality time like, okay, so if my mother-in-law was able to watch Madison while Talia's in school, those hours I would go and get my nails done professionally, do my eyebrows, have a cup of coffee with a girlfriend, or Carlton himself. He kind of senses. We go back to that intuition question. We've been together so long that he's that in tune to know you need a brunch day with your girlfriend. You don't need me around. You don't need the girls around. You need your people.
Yeah.
And my people meaning nurses, because
yeah.
I don't know if you've been around us when we're as a group, but our conversations are our conversations, our whole attitude. We have no frontal lobe, no filter. We don't care who you are, where we are at the dinner table, but poop will be talked about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
Am I lying? Where's the lie? There is no lie.
My mom and how she carries on. She tried to guard me growing up. My mom is a nurse, you guys. And so I used to kind of like, because she would be out there with her friends and just kind of like, I don't know, they get wild. She gonna kill me.
No, she's fine.
They have fun when they get together, and I know you can speak to it too.
I know, because when I have brunch with her, we do have a good time.
Yeah, a good old time.
A good old time. So those are the moments that I greatly appreciate. And that's why it's very important to always try to build and maintain relationships. And it's hard sometimes, especially if you are a mom in a relationship where your in-law doesn't like you, or you don't have a great relationship with your own parents, or you don't have your parents. It's just you and your husband, because both sets of parents are gone, and you're just like living on an island. You could be living in the middle of New York City, in Times Square, but have no one. And that's what she kind of said. She's like, 90% of my patients are going through the same thing, and a lot of them just don't have the ability to have that alone time. So she said, consider yourself very blessed. And so after that conversation, I'm like, well, wow. So, but that's one of the big things. So any moment that I can find to create a magic moment for me. And it's very much in advance. It's rarely spontaneous. It's very rare spontaneous. And this is what I meant when I said earlier about knowing who I am as a mom, because Carla was a person who, if I had 4 or 5 days off in a row, we all got on the phone and we're like, so who else is off? Oh, we're going to Vegas? Let's go. Like,
let's go. Yeah.
That's what we did. But now it's like, all right, so on the third Monday, 3 months from now,
right,
I am I am off.
Facts.
Like, so it's not, and even when you get to that Monday, as you can clearly see, something can happen.
Something happens.
And
kid gets
then
sick,
it's like,
or something like that.
So it's very hard to be as spontaneous as we were before. But I do my best to try and make the time and just communicate. I go back to that word again, communicate. And I feel very blessed knowing what I know and seeing what I see just in healthcare alone. Communicate with my significant other and say, I need alone time, but not 20 minutes alone time. Like, I'm gonna go to Sawgrass Mills with my best friend. We're not buying anything. We're just literally gonna walk around and talk trash for 5 hours. And then we're gonna have a drink. And that's where all your money's gonna go. Is the champagne. Because that's what's gonna happen.
Sometimes you need that break. And that, I think even taking it a step further, I don't do this, but I would like to start doing it. I know that Mauricio and I we've been trying to find, a way to get some time. But I think, let's say in a hypothetical world where I have my village, right? I think it's important, like, if we were to somehow come up with calendaring every couple of weeks where you block a slot of time, half a day minimum, okay? Because I think for me to like truly unwind and like feel like I'm refreshed, you need at least a half a day. Like, I'm talking from like, 8 in the morning or whatever to like 12, 1 o'clock. Some good time. And like, make that a habit as a mom, every couple weeks, whatever. Because we often say, maybe I don't know when. And then we kind of, maybe 3 months later, 4 months later, you're still grinding and you're like, on that hamster wheel, and it gets very stressful and burdensome. So I think if we can, like, as moms, try to find some time every couple of weeks, make it a habit to give ourselves that quality time. And a habit meaning, like, it's a frequency that is measured. Every 2 weeks, once a week, something.
And that will go back to your self-love, which will help your depression and your anxiety. It's all, they're not all separate entities. It's literally, there's you in the middle, and it's a circle. And it's a revolving circle. Just consider you the sun, and every part of this podcast a different planet, and how it affects and how it rotates around the sun, and how the sun affects it. So it's trying to put out positivity into yourself and into your space to allow back in positive energy. So that's one of the things. Like, I would really love to be spontaneous tomorrow and go to brunch, but I have a birthday party, so
the kids' birthday parties and stuff, they come up.
I know.
But like, again, like, before you know it, 18 years will have passed by, and you're like, where did the time go? So that's why, for me, like, just like here on this podcast right now, I'm like, I think it's a good idea to actually set out, no matter what, figure out a way, set a time and make it frequent enough where you're like, oh, you know what? It's been hell this week, but at least I know that on Saturday for 5 hours, I'm doing this for myself and I get a
Exactly.
minute, right? And
Yep.
we should do that more as moms. I really think we should,
Yep.
just to get that self-love back in, and I think it'll go to helping our mental health for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, as our kids grow, speaking of, getting them to 18 and being empty nesters, going off to college or whatever, our identities, well, put it like this, our identities, I feel like when they're young, as moms to our kids, it's almost kind of like blended together, at least just
Mhm.
from my perspective. And I feel like we kind of like see ourselves in them, not just, because of genetics, but the fact is like, okay, you're an extension of me. And this, I kind of like live my life through you. Everything I'm kind of doing and rotating everything I do around you and how you're growing up. Everything that you do, I'm like consumed in your life, right? Because you're not independent. But as they grow up, your independence, it's like you start to try to find yourself again. Like we're making the joke earlier about like my mom and like your mom or whoever, like they're going
Yeah.
off and doing their own things. So with that said, as they grow independent of us, uh, what what do you what are some of the things that you can do to kind of like find your independence again? I mean, like, yeah, just being so consumed with the kids. What are some
All the
things that
time.
you can do to, as they grow up, do you think, to kind of like
Goodness
divide?
Lord. I mean, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I've got like a lot of years left before they
It's a lot
leave.
of years. Yeah, I know.
I mean, and I joke about it all the time. Like, why aren't they 18 yet and gone?
what can we do now? I guess it probably
To,
goes
I
back
guess
to the old question of
yes, to
quality time
prepare.
and yeah.
Yeah, because it's gonna honestly probably feel like a renewal of our relationship. Like we are
Yeah.
two young people again,
Mhm.
just like living the life and
Mhm.
doing things like again
Mhm.
my parents are so much more spontaneous now than they were before. I mean, just
Mhm.
random, mommy, daddy, where are you going? Oh, our friends invited us over to some place up in Jupiter.
Like what?
Do I know this person? No, you don't know
Mhm.
this person. Well, can I get their number? How do I know how to contact? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer the phone, Carla. I don't care if, no, you need, who are these people?
Mhm.
So, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I guess in that sense, that is, I guess now is the time where I say to Carlton, just like how you say, make a half a day time for yourself,
Mhm.
to bring back yourself.
Mhm.
As a couple, you need to
Mhm.
try and do it
Mhm.
maybe twice a year.
Mhm.
Um, just plan 3 days without the kids being there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah.
so because empty nesting, I'm not going to be able to even fathom what that feels like till they're truly gone.
Yeah.
Um, because 3 days is still not enough time for me to feel fully detached from my kids. I mean, we
Mhm.
have we have FaceTime. If
Mhm.
we want to
Yeah.
talk to them,
You
we pick
talking
up the
right away.
phone and we
Yeah.
and we video. Like what?
Yeah.
So it's not like back in the day when my mom, I would go and stay with my grandmother
Mhm.
in the Caribbean, and then
Mhm.
they would come down
Mhm.
to vacation for
Mhm.
3 weeks, and then we all go back up together. Uh,
Mhm.
but that was, I balled because I wanted to go to
Mhm.
Grenada
Yeah.
every summer to be
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
family down
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
what is a mother to do but send her child? You know what I
All
mean?
right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think the preparation would be, is to always try to find like alone time maybe
Mhm.
with your husband or
Mhm.
significant other, just so that when that time comes, you still remember the person you're married to, because people forget. It is a you see, you know what I'm talking about. People
Yes.
forget who they are once
Yeah.
children happen,
Yeah.
because now you're learning how to be a dad, you're learning how to be a mom,
You lose your
and
identity.
you lose your identity and you
hmm
forget who you
hmm
are. And suppose when we empty nest, I'm like, I really don't like you.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's happened. It has
hmm
happened where
hmm
people divorce so late, and you
hmm
never want to use the D word,
Right. I
but
that's what I
people,
call it. I call it the D word. Oh my
the D word,
gosh.
you never want to use the D word, but people
Yeah.
divorce after their kids leave because
They don't know each other.
they don't know each other, and they go, I don't like you. Like,
Yeah.
why did I even marry you? Because we married when we knew each other as single people and we didn't grow as a couple with children. And
hmm
that's what I think needs to happen in preparation for empty nesting, is that you grow and
hmm
still try to maintain knowledge of each other. I mean, you sleep in
Yeah.
the same bed every night, but that doesn't mean you know the person.
Communication is gone.
It's
You're
completely
focused. You're literally living your lives like
gone.
how
Roommate.
can let's say this. Yes. I was gonna say like as single people raising a child together.
Yes, like roommates.
But that's
Your roommate.
exactly what it is. As roommates. And there was something, oh my gosh, I don't remember where I saw it. Where it was saying like don't let your spouse become your roommate.
Yes.
Like where did I see? I just saw that the other day. It's
But
such a good
it's
point.
funny. The priest that married us
Mm-hmm.
left such a profound effect on us,
Yeah.
because he always said, and I go back to how the universe is set up as the sun. The sun is your marriage heart.
Mm-hmm.
That is your couple, and
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be all these outside forces, your family, your kids, your friends, but never forget what why you two came together in the first place. And you need
Mm-hmm.
to allow your sun not to die but to continue to burn. And in order to do that, you have to grow through all the different stages of your life
Mm-hmm.
and your marriage.
Yeah.
And if you allow that building to stop and then for your foundation to basically crumble, then when it is time to empty nest, the glue that was holding you guys together is no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we even together then? Because I don't
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You
tell you
made me
how, you
laugh.
know, I don't like you.
But it's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You get like if you're too invested, I mean, no mom wants to hear or a parent like, oh, don't tell me not to be invested in my kid. Yes, you should.
Yes.
You should,
And
no
nobody
one's
is not
saying
saying
that.
not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you give all 100% of yourself to your
Mm-hmm.
children,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to lose why you and your partner got together in the first place. And now,
Mm-hmm.
instead of growing together, you're growing apart. And then when the kids are gone,
Mm-hmm.
literally, what do you have?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Carla, you have managed to do all of this, to raise your two girls, um, and work full time in, you're a nurse, but it's like in a corporate position.
Mhm.
Um, how do you maintain that balance? Because everybody knows, and I'm pretty sure I said this at the beginning of the podcast, that, nurses work hard,
Mhm.
work really, really hard and long hours. And a lot of the times the hours are kind of odd hours when you're
Mhm.
taking care of a child, or children in your case. So how, what, not just how do you maintain that balance, but what word of advice do you have for moms looking to get back into, working full time, and how should, they go about balancing it?
So, like you said, very, very odd hours. It
Yeah.
extremely, extremely odd. And when just to give you like a blip of my work time with my children, when I had my first, I was still at the bedside, and my job was actually an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where I lived, uh,
Mm.
with traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I got promoted to my first administrative job. It was 5 days a week. The balance was okay because I found a daycare that I trusted,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I could drop her off at, and Carlton or my in-laws would pick her up depending
Mm-hmm.
on what the day was, or I
Mm-hmm.
would.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When I got my second one, it became a lot harder because now it's two kids. As you get more of them, it becomes a little bit more to manage because you're juggling two different age groups.
Yeah.
So one is more independent than the other. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, and their dependency on your needs, um it becomes, is vastly different depending on your stage. Like Madison is still very needy, whereas
Mm-hmm.
Talia is very independent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my stages are. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually had to leave my job in Miami when I had my second to come back up here to be closer. But staying in that 5 day a week was very difficult because I was putting in 60-hour weeks. I can't work 60 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then Talia was starting school. It got
Too
complicated.
much. Yeah.
It's too much. So for moms wanting to come back, I would say take it slow. Like, how old are your children? Look at the age of your kids
Mm-hmm.
when you're coming back in. Because for us who are already in, we've kind of find that little niche place and
Mm-hmm.
how to do it. As a nurse, super flexible schedule. So
Mm-hmm.
like I pretty much make sure I am off for the holiday, those weird holidays, those random teacher, what is it? The teacher planning days. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so major holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of those we flip it off.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband's off.
Mm-hmm.
So he, like, I work Thanksgiving, but he's
Mm-hmm.
off, so he'll be home with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do my best to be off on those days. And that's why I say find something that's part time before you dive back in. Make sure your kids are independent enough that they can manage their day to day after school without you being there, because you're as a single, and not a single mom, as a stay-at-home mom, you are there for them
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they pick up the phone to call you, you answer because you are
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you get a job, that's not necessarily the case
Mm-hmm.
because now you have another responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my advice, is to take it slow and don't get frustrated if that first job doesn't work. I moved 3 times before I found the shift that worked for me,
Mm-hmm.
that handled my stress level. And when I say handled my stress level, it's not
Mm-hmm.
the stress level of the job, it's the stress level from of what, of everything that I have to be responsible for. So your house, your children, everybody seeing the doctors, including yourself, because you got to take care of yourself too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, as well as your job, and
Mm-hmm.
and making sure all those responsibilities are met.
Mm-hmm.
And but Carla, you work from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Who picks up the kids in the afternoon? Well, either the daycare, who
Mm-hmm.
I trust, or my husband or my in-laws, depending on what's going on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in that week. So it's a give and take. It's a seesaw to find a nice balance, and it doesn't happen overnight. You're gonna be frustrated, but don't let the frustration make you give up. And
Mm-hmm.
keep fighting until you find that balance of where you want to be.
Yeah. Well said. Really well said. You know, with all that you've said, I know that it's been really good information. A lot of moms may want to get in contact with you. And first of all, I just want to say before I get to that, this has been a really, this has been a really, really good episode. We talked about so much, and there is still so much to discuss when it comes to mental health that, you know, maybe in the future, if I'm so lucky, we can have you back on. But no, but this,
I don't mind coming back.
Yeah, because this mental health is like, it's just, there's so much to it, and we just hit the points that we could in the time that we have. But you know, yeah, you're doing it all. You know, you're working full time, you have your kids, and you're married, and you know that there's so much that goes into maintaining a household and maintaining your marriage, and maintaining the kids and working. It's a lot.
Everything is a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
So I'm sure there are a lot of moms out there that, you know, and parents that may want to get in contact with you just to kind of like ask questions about, you know, how do you do it? Like what can maybe get personalized answers to their situation. So how can our moms find you? Good luck, you guys, because she might not have anywhere for you guys to go. But how can they find you?
They can find me on my Instagram. It's a weird one. It's BABBIE.blue. And that's my Instagram. Like if you follow Lilani on Instagram, I am one of her followers. She's one of mine. You'll see me right there. My page is pretty bare. As I said,
she is undercover, you guys. I'm telling you,
my husband is super
incognito.
private. But that's just how I roll. I took a step back for privacy reasons from social media. But I am here for my friends who contact me, and anybody who watches podcast and have questions. Hey, maybe you are going back to school to be a nurse and you want to know how to get in the game. I'm here. I have all the answers to that too.
There she is. So, yes. Perfect person.
Yes. So you guys can come and ask me any question you want. I don't mind.
And you guys can also, again, another plug, but you guys can also reach out to your favorite mom friends, the group on Facebook, where, again, you'll get access to some of the amazing moms that have been on this podcast. And also, you can also reach out to me directly from there. And I can get in contact with Carla very easily and reach out to her, and we can connect. So, Carla, sis, thank you. Hearts for being on. Oh my gosh. You guys, it's a miracle that I got her on. And in the time period that I got her on, that was a long shot, but
the stars were aligned.
The stars were aligned, and it just worked. And this has just been such a treat. And I'm just so happy to have had you on. So until next time, you guys, thank you for watching, and thank you.
Have a good day, guys. Bye,
until
guys.
Next time. Bye.
Bye.